Now that we're at 15 heroes in the series, I want to branch out and talk more about the other aspects of the game that I find busted. I'll get around to the more nebulous things like the draft and the other systems, but we're staying in-game by talking about maps first, and to be more specific, the map I hate the most, which really sucks because the shape of this map is so competitively reasonable, especially compared to other maps. The lanes are fantastic, not too far apart, and the terrain in between isn't that messy, but it still makes it a bit difficult for the opposing team to chase deep. But the mechanics are what make it a lot worse than its first blush. The first thing you'll notice about Towers of Doom when you get in is that the core health is already visible, and it's also not a very large number, without a shield covering the permanent damage like usual. So, the biggest gripe I have with it is that the main gimmick of the map is not just strongly suggested like in every other map. You cannot push all the way down and deal damage to the core once the lane is completely gone via your hero. The minions will just straight up die when they approach the opponent's base. You have to do the map's objective in order to deal damage to the core, also meaning you have to do the map's objective to prevent damage to your own core. Well, I guess only the latter half of that statement is true, since there are alternate ways to deal damage to the core, but they're reliant on either taking camps or complete domination of the match. But first I have to explain how towers work to explain that. So there's only 6 towers total on the map, 3 for each side. If a lane gets pushed down and the tower falls, it is claimed by the other team. The objective deals 1 damage for the core and 1 per tower the team owns. If you get a siege minion all the way to the opponent's base, they can each deal 1 damage to the core up to 3 per camp. Wait, really quick about the camps too, is that there are 3 siege camps on the whole map, but instead of being 1 per lane like you'd expect, it's 2 on the bottom and 1 on the top. That's really weird, and bottom lane domination could likely lead to 6 damage routinely on respawn, which is not a small amount on this map. The next way to deal damage is to do the boss camp in the middle of the map, which will deal 4 damage straight to the opponent's core. The last way damage can be dealt is by capturing all 6 towers, in which the friendly core will start firing on the opposing core until a tower is captured back, and it ramps up in firing speed over time. So you'd think the lessened towers and a lack of forts or keeps and needing to do the objective to survive would mean that siege-centric heroes are worse on this map. You'd think that Blizzard could intentionally design a map to be about team fighting regularly because the objective isn't optional on the map. And yet, because of this whole total domination win condition, a good offlaner could literally just beat down the opponents in every lane when they go to do literally anything on the map, be it an objective or a camp, and the team is now in a massively advantageous position. Really, sustain is the name of the game when it comes to this map, because you never, ever want to give the opponents a chance to push down the lane, lest you have to fight the uphill battle of reclaiming a tower during an objective. By some miracle, this map is simultaneously about holding all the towers on the map while being about grouping to fight over the objective to do any damage to the core. This clashing of ideas, this contradiction of what the point is most of what's haunting this game's entire design. I'm aware the game wants to have some simulacrum of macro strategy in lanes being threatened when an objective goes up, and that goes for all maps, regardless of how important the objective is. But how do you make it consistent in a game this turbulent? My personal suggestion is that it's quite literally impossible just by this game's design. Don't get me wrong, I can have fun in this game, but as I've mentioned in comments previously, this game is bankrupt in terms of competitive integrity because it's almost everything that anyone actually serious about competition does not want in a game. Most of it stems from the maps, which I think the goal was to expand the hero pool of people playing the game seriously. The heroes intentionally differ in strength from map to map, but that's kinda not what MOBAs are about, right? I'll talk about it more when I get around to the next map, but it's messed up that you can learn a meta team with your pals load into the wrong map and just have to make something up or suffer the disadvantage just because you got unlucky and your optimal strategy that you're all very good at just isn't strong on any one map in particular. Wrapping back around to towers specifically is that this map is the strangest by far in Heroes of the Storm. Let's say you're playing Gazlowe and you go bottom on towers. You never ever leave bottom and you win out the lane just because your lane sustain is better than every other hero. Just by doing that, you have ensured that your team deals one more and takes one less damage per altar captured. This means that you're dealing 5 and taking 3. Even if you give up 2 altars to take 1, you take 1 less damage total, which can be made up by pushing a siege camp into their base. More generally, most of the things you want to be good at in terms of most maps in the pool are not things you need in Towers of Doom. You might be the best Vala in your rank, but you better have a pocket Probius or you'll just get rolled for not being able to contend with that kind of pushing power. This map sucks so bad because you have to 180 your main plan, unless you're playing healer, in which case your game plan is still to go around the map and heal teammates. Towers is the paragon of why inconsistency is the bane of all competitive gaming, because it tried too hard to stand out by altering the gameplay of the classic MOBA style. Every map in Heroes tries to alter the gameplay, but this one takes it a step too far by being about controlling the map and being about fighting over objectives. I don't know, man. I just wish it was a little more thought out with how the macro mechanics of this game work.